Okay, there we go. Let's see how you're doing. So this is review. That's what the quizzes always are for, right? They're just so that it's not the newest stuff. It's not the stuff we just did. It's the stuff from last week. Quizzes are always over old stuff, and they keep a running total, right? I'm trying to have you ready for the exam. So they always keep a running total of all the stuff just on the current exam. They don't go back to exam 1. It's just stuff after exam 1 going forward. So this is stuff after our first exam. Just trying to get you ready to keep you fresh for exam 2. That's the plan with the quizzes. Because we only meet once a week. So try that one. See what you remember. Can you solve that? We had that. In 2 weeks, you take a test on that. So see how you're doing. This is early alert system is what this is. It's supposed to alert you. You're going to want to take the 6 and you're going to multiply 6 there, 6 there, and 6 there. And let him do his job. The whole purpose of him is to take out the denominators. So I call him a hitman. So I just do that to help people remember to cancel. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to cancel. So do that canceling. So like the first one, 3 will go into 6, won't it? 3 will go into 6 2 times. So 3 goes into 6 2 times. And so you can bring down the 2 and it'll multiply. Is that good? Good. Keep going. Keep going. Juan Estrada is next to hit go, right? Okay. Good, you getting that okay? So the 6's will cancel here, right? But careful, that minus sign's going to have to distribute through both of those. That's right there's the place that would get you, probably. If anything's going to get you, it'd be that. These cancel 1. You know what I mean? That minus has got to distribute. Why? Because that minus applied to the whole fraction, didn't it? It was in front of the whole fraction. So when it's time to distribute, it'll go to both of them, not just the front part. That's the most common mistake people make. Can you get it from there? Now there's the major step, huh? If you can get through that, I bet you can get it from here with one eye closed. Okay, so we distribute 2x plus 6 minus x plus 3. Everybody see that? How the signs, any sign or number in front of parentheses distributes to both of them, doesn't it? Minus x plus 3. Good there. So then 2x minus x. That's just 1x or x, yeah. 6 and 3. 9. Subtract 9. X is minus 8. Is that good? You remember that a little bit more now? 2 weeks the test on it. So questions I can answer. So the fractions, LCD, top, cross cancel, multiply what's left over. But watch the signs. Watch the minus signs. They have to distribute through any fraction they're in front of. They don't just hit the front part, right? That minus sign is assigned to that entire fraction, not just the x in the front. No. Has to distribute to both. We good? Can you read all that? Company found that experienced surveyor can survey a roadbed in 4 hours. An apprentice needs 10 hours. If the two work together, how long? You gotta try to see what you remember about these kind of word problems. Basically, what number 2 is saying is one person takes how long? 4 hours, the other's 10. One person needs 4 hours, the other is 10 hours. How long together? That's what they're saying. So one person's 4 hours, the other's 10. How long if they work together? So we had a certain formula. Remember what it is? 1 over, I did a little different than Matt. If you clicked on the help button, they do something a little different. Their way's fine. I did 1 over A plus 1 over B is 1 over together. That's the formula I gave you for this kind of word problem, working together word problems. So anytime, so we're going to have these again and again and again, and then on the exam in 2 weeks. So whenever you read a problem where they're working together, it's 1 over A plus 1 over B is 1 over together. So that's going to, can you take it from there? So 1 over 4 plus 1 over 10 is x is the together. I don't know what that is. That's what I'm trying to find. Like that. And now we have to solve with fractions. So what do? LCD. Top, top, top. Right. LCD, top, top, top. And cross cancel. Take out those, let the LCD take out the denominators. So what's the LCD? Yeah, 20 is technically the lowest. 40 will work fine. Either one will work great. 20 or 40, it's good either way. 20 is technically the lowest common denominator. 40 is a common denominator. It'll work either way. But 40 itself won't work, or 20 itself won't work. Neither one is right unless you put the x with it. Because the x is also a denominator, huh? So 40x or 20x, either one will work fine. So did more of you do 40? I'll just try to do whatever the majority did. I'll do 40x. Okay, so, but 20x would be really even easier. So 40x. Don't forget the x, though. That's what I've seen over the years on this problem, is people will do 40, 40, 40. They'll forget the x. And that messes everything up. X is a denominator. So it's part of the common denominator, huh? Don't forget x. Remember, how do you find it? Maybe I remind you. You just multiply these guys together, remember? Just multiply the denominators together. 4 times 10 times x. Don't forget the x. 40x. All right, take it from there. Cross cancel and multiply whatever's left over. So let him do his job. He's a hitman. Take out the numbers. 4 goes into 40. 10 times. That's 10x. 10 goes into 40. 4 times. 4x. X cancels x. 40. Good. No more fractions. It's always better when the fractions are gone. 14x is 40. Last step, divide by 14. There we go. We got to reduce that, right? Fractions always need to be reduced. Divide by what? I guess 2. Maybe 20 over 7. There we go. It's kind of a weird looking answer. You could divide, if that's a fine answer, but if it bugs you, you could divide in your calculator. I think it's like 2.9 something, 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 isn't it? If you divide, anybody have their calculator? What's 20 divided by 7? It's just under 3, because 21 divided by 7 would be 3. 20.9 something? Yeah. Anyway, so my point is, if one person takes 10 hours alone, the other takes 4 hours, if they work together, it's 2.9. That seems reasonable, huh? It's got to be something shorter than 4, doesn't it? Because the one person can do the whole job alone in 4 hours. So if the other person is any help at all, it's got to be under 4 when they're working together. So 2.9 seems reasonable. So that's what 20 over 7 is. Anyway, we okay? Questions I can answer? You okay on working together? All right. Number 3, big old word problem. 2 trains leave the station same time, travel opposite direction. Train B travels 10 miles an hour faster than train A. In 3.5 hours, the trains are 336 miles apart. Find the speed of each train. Are these your favorite kind of word problems? Do you have a long list of favorites? Of word problems, I mean? Sorry, I'm just joking around. That's the formula we always use for these travel ones, right? Don't forget the equal sign. That's important. Distance equals rate times time. So try to fill in as many boxes as you can. And then you usually get the remaining 2 by using the formula. Can you all read those words? Some big enough. I can't make it bigger. It goes off the screen. I could write it. But if you can read them, I'll leave them. You guys in the back row read those? Okay. How are we doing? I'll jump in. Okay. Train B is, what does it say? 10 miles an hour faster. What do we do in a word problem? Any word problem. It doesn't have to be travel. When they go blah, 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 one thing's 10 more. One thing's 10 faster. One thing's 10 longer. One thing's 10 bigger. X plus 10. Right? That's all that is. Now, where's that go? That's B's speed. So this is train A here, train B down there, right? You have the two trains. Speed. Where's speed? Distance, rate, or time? Rate. It's going to go right here. X plus 10, and this one's X. That's how we always handle any word problem. When they go blah, 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 something's 10 more. That means X plus 10, and somebody else is just X, huh? Somebody's always just plain X in a word problem, right? Does that make sense how I came up with that? They said B's speed, the rate for B, 10 more. If they said 10 less, I would do X minus 10, wouldn't I? If they said B's 10 times as fast, I would do 10 times X. And the other would be X. If they said A is 10 faster, I would do an X plus 10 for A. Right? Get the idea? So whatever they tell me, I just put it in the box, and the other box is X. Okay, let's take the next fact. In 3.5 hours, that distance, rate, or time? That's time. And that's for both trains, right? Both trains start at the same time, and they travel for 3.5 hours. So that's the time both trains travel. They both travel for 3.5 hours. Right? They start at the same time, and they're going in opposite directions. So I've got 4 boxes right now. How do I get those 2 boxes in the front? Look at the relationship. D equals R times T, right? So notice, these are not just 3 unrelated letters. They are definitely connected in an equation. D equals R times T. So that means the D box, the left box, is the right 2 boxes times. Huh. Yeah, so then I just go, okay, so this is going to be 3.5 times X. This is going to be 3.5 times X plus 10, isn't it? We good for, see, I just multiplied this box times that and this box times that. Because D equals R times T. Good, okay. There's one other fact I haven't used now. 336 miles apart. What am I going to do? So the trains both start next to each other, A and B. One goes that way, one goes that way, and we're talking about how far apart they are is 336 miles. Do you see how that's just going to be the adding of their distances? Right? If I take my hands and I go apart, then how far this one moved plus that one moved is the total separation, isn't it? How far train A went, B went, add them up, that's the total 336. Does that make sense? This distance is how far, right? And this distance. So 3.5x plus 3.5 times x plus 10. The sum of the distances is 336. The 2 distances add up to 336, don't they? Is that good? These aren't easy. These are the hardest. I think these are the hardest kind of word problems. These travel ones. But you can do them with practice. You know, there was a time in my life when I, your math teacher, thought word problems in algebra were unreasonably hard. I tried talking with my teacher one time messed up on a log problem going down the river, and I talked to my friend on the phone, my little friend, that day, and I was like, see, Mr. Allison messed up. These things are too hard. You know, I was just thought, you know. So my point is, you know, you can learn these things, but, you know, we all feel they're crazy at first. But with enough practice, you can get the hang of them. But it won't come without time. It won't come without time. But you can do it. Put some time in there. You can get comfortable with these things. All right, so let's solve it now. So let's distribute. Boom, boom. So 3.5x plus 3.5x times 10. That's just going to move the decimal, 35. You can use a calculator if you're rusty on some of that. It's 336. 3.5x and 3.5x, $3.50 and $3.50. 7x, huh? You good to there so far? What do I do now? I'm trying to solve for x. Bring it up here. So 7x plus 35 is 336. Subtract 35. 7x is 301, huh? 301. And last step, to get x alone, divide by 7. X equals, I have no idea. Do you guys have a calculator? 43. Now careful, remember in a word problem, X is the key. It's not necessarily the answer, it might be, but it's always the key to unlock any door you want. You can go back now. Click, 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 click. You can unlock any door now that you know X. What do they want from me? They want the speed of train A and the speed of train B. Which boxes are speed? Yeah, rate. We good there? So you take that 43 and you put in everywhere you've got X, that's what X is now, 43. So train A's rate is just 43. And train B's rate is 43 plus 10, 53. And in both cases, that's miles per hour, isn't it? Miles per hour, miles per hour. We good? So practice that one. Do it over and over again until you can do it easy. Questions before I move on? Okay, there we go. Complex fraction. They want me to clean it up, just make it a regular fraction. Give you a second, see what you remember from your homework, previous homework. Okay, so what do we do with this thing? Nobody knows? Yeah, y minus 4, right. Y minus 4 is the issue, huh? Y minus 4 is the denominator thing, huh? So you want to multiply everybody by y minus 4. Like so. Is that making sense? You got to do the same thing top and bottom so you don't change the fraction, right? Got to do the same thing, all the terms top and bottom. But remember, that's a hit man. That'll take out the denominators. Like right here, boom, and right there, boom. That's why we're doing it. We want those gone. Because those are the things making this thing ugly, right? They're the pieces making it fractions over fractions. So we can get rid of them, it'll be cleaner. It'll be a normal fraction. Good. So then what do we have? That leaves us with y minus 4 times 4 plus 4 over y minus 4 times y plus 3. Good so far? Hope this 4 up here is not confusing you. That's just the question number. Problem number 4. So now we distribute through parentheses. 4y minus 16 plus 4. Distribute. Y squared minus 4y plus 3. And this is 4y minus 16 plus 4 is minus 12. We good to there? Can we do anything more? Yeah, right here at the end, you can factor that top and factor that bottom. Do you realize that? So we'll let you finish that. Factor that numerator, factor that denominator. So on the top, I'm going to factor out a 4, right? And on the bottom, I'm going to do the diamond thing. What are two numbers that multiply to be plus 3? So over here, the diamond. Multiply to be plus 3. Add to be minus 4. 1 times 3, both minus. Right? The two minuses multiply to be positive. Two negatives multiply to be positive, and they add to be a bigger negative 4. Huh? It's minus 1, minus 3. That good? And so, minus 1, minus 3, and then what happens? Cancel. We're almost done with this crazy problem. And so then in the end, it's 4 over y minus 1. It really cleaned up, didn't it? Really simplified. It's just 4 over y minus 1. That big old mess cleans up quite a bit. Is that good? Let's try one more. All right, so try number 5, where I can just make it a little cleaner here. So number 5, x over y plus 7. X over y minus 7. All right, so try that one. Again, they want you to clean it up so it's not a complex fraction. It's not messy fractions over fractions. So we're going to multiply all the terms on the top and all the terms on the bottom, right? What are we going to multiply by? By the y, huh? By that extra denominator piece, yeah. Going to multiply by a y. Y, and y. All of them. All right, so cross cancel whenever you can. So these cancel and these cancel. That's why we're doing it, huh? Is that good? So then x plus 7y over x minus 7y. Okay, and now what do we do? Nothing, huh? Everybody good? You can't do any more, huh? Costco says no, right? We can't cancel those. These are glued together packages. And so we can only cancel them if they exactly matched, right? Plus and minus makes a package. So that's just it. We can't cancel the x's. We can't cancel anything because they're not exactly the same. Plus and minus things must match exactly to cancel on that.
Okay, so here's number 6. They give us the slope of a line and a point on the line. That's a minus 9, 0 there. And they want me to find the equation y equals mx plus b. So how do we do this? We write slope equals y minus blank over x minus blank. You know, it's kind of like the slope formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, but instead you just erase the back, put blanks, and just make that a plain y and a plain x. So that's what it is, and then what do you do with it? Well, then you plug the stuff in. So the slope minus 3/10 goes right there. It'll be, and you put the negative on the top. You could put it on the bottom. It doesn't matter. Don't put it on both. One negative sign on a fraction goes top only or bottom only. I just put it on the top. And then on the other side, we have y minus x minus. And what do we put back there? Well, this is the x value, so that has to go behind x. And this is the y value, that has to go behind y. So we've got the negative on the x right here, and then the formula also has its own negative sign right there, so we got double negative is going to be positive. Okay, so we now we diagonal cross multiply. Negative 3 times x plus 9, write that double negative, is 10 times y minus 0. Distribute. Minus 3x minus 27 is 10y minus nothing. So you can just get rid of that minus nothing. Supposed to get y alone. The last step to get y alone is divide through by 10. You divide all 3 by 10. So that means y equals minus 3/10 x minus 27/10. There's the equation. Okay, so here's number 7. It's another one where they want me to write the equation. They give me 2 points, and they want me to write the equation in that form in the end. In other words, they don't want y alone. They want x first, then y, then numbers. Well, that'll be the end. We'll get to that at the end. How do we start off? Well, first off, we need the slope. We always need the slope. They're not telling me the slope. So I got to get the slope. How do we get the slope? We're going to use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What are those? This is x1, y1. That's the first x and y value. This is the second x and y value. So then the slope will equal y2, negative 1, minus y1, negative 2. Got double negatives there, right? Negative in the formulas. And then y1 is also negative. And on the bottom we go x2, which would be negative 6, minus x1, which is negative 4. So these double negatives become positive. Negative 1 plus 2. It's kind of scribbly there. Negative 1 plus 2. Negative 6 plus 4. What's that? 1 over negative 2. So there's the slope. So now we write slope formula a second time. This time with the plain y and the plain x in the front and the blanks in the back. So see how we use the slope formula twice? Once with all 4 numbers to get the slope, because they didn't give me the slope. See how the last problem? They just gave me the slope right off the bat. If they don't give you the slope, you got to get your own slope. Then you write the slope formula again with the blanks in the back. You grab the slope and put it in right over here. I'm going to put that negative on the top. Here it was on the bottom. I'm just going to move it to the top. It doesn't really matter. And what goes behind y and x is going to be either these two or the other two. I'm just going to grab the first two. It doesn't matter. You can use either pair. So I'm going to grab that x value, negative 4, goes behind x. Grab that y value, negative 2, goes behind y. And then we go diagonal, diagonal. We cross multiply. So we'll get negative 1 times x plus 4, double negative becomes positive, double negative, positive. 2 times y plus 2, distribute, negative x minus 4, 2y plus 4, bring it up here. So now we have negative x minus 4, 2y plus 4. So what are we supposed to do now? Well, now we talk about the form they want. They want it like this. They want x's first, then y's, then numbers. So I've got an x here, but here's the y over here. So I got to jump this y over this way, and I've got to jump this thing over that way. Whenever something jumps over the equal sign to the other side of the equation, the sign in front of it switches. So it becomes negative x minus 2y. See how that regular 2y jumped over became minus? And then the minus 4 is going to jump over become a plus 4, and then there's already the other plus 4 that's already there. So that minus 4 jumped over became a plus 4. Okay, and so what does that give us? Minus x minus 2y is 8. Now, let's look back at the different answers in the multiple choice. Let's see. See how the answers here, none of them have negative signs on the left side? So we're going to have to change ours without changing any of the actual values. How do you do that? Well, you multiply through by negative 1. You can always do that, right? At any time with an equation, you're allowed to multiply through by any number, right? Because it's a system in balance. If the left equals the right, you can multiply through by any number and they'll still be equal afterwards. That makes it positive x plus 2y minus 8. That's the same equation as the other one. They're both right answers, but they happen to give it this look. X plus 2y is negative 8. X plus 2y, there's the answer. Right there. Does that make sense? So you can always multiply, you can always multiply through an equation by negative 1. You don't always have to. It's just if they happen to have a different look, you can multiply through really by any number because it's an equation. The left side equals the right side. So if you multiply them both by the same thing, they got to still be equal. Okay, so here we are in number 8. They're giving me a point, and they're telling me perpendicular to that. Now, the first thing we always need on these equation problems is we need a slope. How am I going to get my slope? They're not giving it to me, right? They're not handing me the slope. In the last problem, I found the slope by doing the 4 numbers, didn't I? That's how I found the slope. The problem before that, they just gave me the slope right in the beginning. So you always need the slope. So I'm going to find the slope by getting y alone and the number next to x is slope, right? Because it's y equals mx plus b. So if you get y alone, the number next to x will be the slope. So I take that equation, 5y equals x minus 10, and I get y alone. So, right, because in the y equals mx plus b, notice y is alone. So that's, this equation is saying if you get y alone, then what's next to x will be the slope. So get y alone, divide through by 5. Boom. So what do we got? Y equals 1/5 x minus 2. Right, because this is a 1 in the top here. That's the same as 1/5 x. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. All right, so I got y alone. What's the slope? There's the slope, but careful. This is a really tricky one. Slope of this other line is 1/5. See, that's not our equation. We're going to find our equation in a minute. This is some other line equation, and our line is perpendicular to that. Slope of the other line is 1/5. Our line is perpendicular. Perpendicular. So what does that mean, perpendicular? So the slope of our line is 2 things. You've got to, let me bring it up here. So for perpendicular, you've got to, number 1, flip upside down, and number 2, change the sign in the front. You got to change everything about it. You got to flip it upside down and change the sign in the front. So we had the slope is 1/5, right? Because we got y alone. The m, that was the mx plus b. So the slope was 1/5. So you got to flip it upside down, becomes 5/1, and then change the sign in the front negative. So this is our line's slope. Does that make sense? So I took that other equation, got y alone, the slope is always next to x when you get y alone. So the slope of the other line was 1/5. Our line's perpendicular. Perpendicular means they meet like a T, like that, like an intersection. 90-degree angle. Perpendicular. So notice our slope is the opposite. Perpendicular means completely the opposite. They meet at 90 degrees. Like you have two streets that run parallel. That'd be same direction. They have the same slope. And streets that are perpendicular, like the intersection, they go opposite ways. So the slope is opposite. So the opposite of 1/5, you flip it upside down and change the sign in the front. Both things, flip upside down and change the sign in the front. -5/1. Okay, all that just gives us our slope. Now we're ready to finish the problem. So let's finish it up. So now we have our slope is, I'm put the negative on the top, -5/1. So now we write, now that we have the slope, you know what we do. We write slope equals y minus blank over x minus blank. Put the slope right here, -5/1, y minus blank, x minus blank. We grab, this is the x value, y value. The x goes behind the x. The y goes behind the y. Diagonal, diagonal, you get -5 times x minus 6, 1 times y, there's double negative here, is +6. Bring it up here, -5x minus 6, 1, y plus 6, distribute, -5x plus 30, distribute y plus 6. Last step, subtract 6. There it is. There is, and they wanted y alone. See how right here they said they wanted y alone. So there is the equation.